I am now going to start off with the basics again. The first thing we need is a list, an empty list. So up at the top of Mailchimp is all of the navigation, and it goes from left to right, just like we read. So I'm just going to go to list as I clicked on that. And over here onto the right side is create list. And so we just want to create a list, just very self-explanatory. And we have to name our list. We have to put what email address we're sending from. Now that email address has to be one that Mailchimp had when we signed up for Mailchimp. We can add an additional Mailchimp an address, but we must be able to receive the email to confirm that we want to use that. So again, you can use the same email address you signed up with from Mailchimp. However, if you want to use a new email address or one that's not your personal one that you may have signed up for Mailchimp, you can always type in a new email address. And I'll just show you that as for an example, because I have not registered. This other address I have not registered with Mailchimp. So when I go to save it, it will ask me. Okay, so I'm just going to put, this is April 20th list. And we can put any name we want. I just put my first name, so it's recognizable when I send one an email. And so now they've added this campaign URL settings. This is new with Mailchimp. Every time we go into these products, they're always improving them. So it's good to be ready for change, and that sometimes can be difficult too if you're just learning something because it's something new. If in doubt, most of the time we can just skip it. But here is now you can actually add. You can choose a domain to use for your campaign URLs, which is kind of neat. But because we're going to basics, I'm not going to go into that tonight. So you don't have to send it to Mailchimp's own URL that they generate. They always recommend that you remind someone how they joined your list, and that is, we can just say anything, but it's a good idea to remind someone. You can also use a previous reminder, and I'm just going to do that for tonight. Then they store all the reminders that you've ever typed in this account. And then in your contact information, you can put your anything in there. It doesn't have to be the same as your billing address, which is really nice. Now under notifications, this is a nice thing that they offer, and you can have it sent to another email address as well. If I want it daily, summary of who subscribes and unsubscribes. I like the one by one still because I don't get subscribers. Like I guess I'm hoping to get enough subscribers that it's going to be like, okay, I'll just have a summary. Send me a daily list. But the one by one, I like the one by ones because then it's kind of exciting. I get an email, oh, someone subscribed to my list. So I choose the one by one. So just going again from the top to bottom, to the list name. If this is a new email address, you'll see what happens next. My default name, I'm going to skip the campaign settings for tonight. A reminder of how they signed up, and also my information as far as how to contact me. So I'm going to just click save here. Okay. So have I used that email address before? Or Mailchimp has changed something and doesn't verify the email address anymore. So that is just one unexpected thing that happened. So I used an email address that I thought it was going to come back and ask me to verify. However, I still showed you how I created a brand new list. And I like Mailchimp. They can be kind of interesting and cute the way they give you little messages when you do things to kind of reward you or encourage you. So how is everyone doing so far? Okay, very, very good. Okay, here we are. So once I get the list, that's the first thing we want to make sure we have an empty list. Then we can start adding contacts, and many ways to add contacts. We can add contacts through our import, which is another list that we've already had from somewhere else. Or we can add a subscriber at a time. If we go to import, we can go with a file that we've already created, something that's in a CSV or text file. We can copy and paste, which I really like this. And then an integrated service that's already, we have contacts from, for example, our Google contacts, or we could use Salesforce or Zendesk. There's more. There's a lot more integrated services, but this is one that I want to show you. It's kind of handy. The copy and paste from file, and I'll click next. Mailchimp's like this. You just kind of go from top to bottom, and then always go next on the right-hand side. Okay, so then now the next screen, this is, they can paste. We can actually take whether they could be, they need to be electronic, or we can just type them in here in a list. So I could just, type in again the same email address that I typed in earlier. And as you notice, it kind of cleared out the space that I had next to it. It showed the lines, but now it doesn't anymore, but that's okay. So hit the tab to get to the next spot to type, first name, last name. And a lot of times we don't even have a last name. So I'm just going to press enter, and then it automatically goes to the second line and adds the number. So if you want to do this, this is a way to import multiple. Say you have a list, you're out speaking, or you're out promoting your book, and people are writing their names down. You can type them in here. The preference is to have electronic list or to take it from another source, but it's always a way to add multiple contacts versus doing one by one in this copy pasted file. If you have it electronically, you can just copy as it says from a Word document, from a text file, from a spreadsheet, and paste it in. That's one of the ways to quickly add contacts. And then it basically warns you if your billing plan will be upgraded if you add more subscribers, depending upon how many you have. Now, Mailchimp, I've said this before, it's up, the basic plan is up to 2,000 free subscribers. I have the automation on mine. That's why it's telling me it's 153. It would be really nice if I was that close to 2,000, but I'm not. Now, the automation is a lot less than 2,000, at least the cap of the plan that I'm using. So I have to check that in order to move forward with next. And I'm doing that now. And here we are, just click next. So as you can see, I can add as many as I want. Now here's the columns to match the columns. This is the first thing you happen when you import, after you've put the names in. So I'm just going to, the first column is my email address, and I have to name my other columns. I have here, I just have to go to edit. And it actually shows me what's in that section in the first line. And I'm going to select here first name. And then I'm going to save that. And it brings me to the next column. As you can see, I'm just going to add first name here. So I'm just going to skip that. And it will not be imported. So it's going to take that list that I typed, and I'll click next to complete. So it's going to tell me now I'm all set to import. And I could add them as subscribed, unsubscribed, or cleaned. And I won't go into the definitions tonight, but unsubscribed and unsubscribed is obvious. Okay, so here we are, and it has just this beginning of my list. It tells me how many are in the list. Sometimes that number, if you go out to the list, does not increment right away. Don't be concerned if the number doesn't match the actual number in your list. Eventually, it does match by the Mailchimp, and they have to, you know, pretty much their systems have to be updated, and how they do their updates sometimes isn't instantaneous, but it does get updated. So this is that is just giving an overview about creating and adding subscribers, creating a list and adding subscribers. So now the next thing we want to do, once we have that, we want to send an email. Now there's two ways to create a template or creating an email. As we go into our email, personal emails, we just simply type an email. So that's pretty much like a campaign. It's a one-time thing. We go into campaigns, we say create campaign. So I'm going to go with that first, because creating a campaign is like we do with our own personal email. We send it out once. We're not going to reuse most of the time a personal email that we create. So I'm going to go to campaigns, create campaigns, and I have to name it. And I'm going to just call it campaign. And we have to choose the type of campaign. Now, this is also something new with Facebook. They wanted to choose a type. Now, they have this Facebook ads. I really haven't looked into it much yet. I'll talk about that in the future if it looks like it's worth looking into. However, a regular is we're going to go over tonight. Send a lovely email, and that's it. Plain text also is without pictures or formatting if you're just going to type text. But I like just go to regular, gives me a few choices. And I'll just click create. Okay, I have to choose a list. That's the next step. I have to, it's like composing the email and saying, who, to who, this is who I'm sending it to. So I'm going to go to the April 20 list on one subscriber and just go from there. I'm going to talk about the other options, but tonight is saying really just getting through this basics to get that email out and get that first campaign out. So we have April 20th, one recipient, entire list. Click next. Okay, so now we have the campaign name. We have to give a subject to the email like we do when we compose our regular emails. So next. And let's put. And again, we can change this. This is the default for the list that I typed in when I created it, from the name and the email address. And you can see I can even edit that campaign URL at this time. They give you a lot of choices to make changes when you create the campaign. We're going to just go here for, this is a good option that they've added a while back. It's personalized the to field. What that actually does is that enables us to get less spam, get caught in less spam filters, because as it shows here, it was going to show to your name. So the spam filters on emails, if they see your name, they allow more through. If it just is generic, doesn't say to anyone, it could get bounced more easily. So I like to check off that personalized to field. Okay, so these just I just leave whatever's already checked off, checked. Don't make any changes to that in this time. And we've gone through this before, and we can do it again, especially if there's a question or answer about Q&A time for auto posting on Facebook after sending. We can go over that another time, but again, we're just going to go through the basic. So the next step, as you saw me take, is my template. Now these are very nice templates. They have ways we can put logos and videos and images, or just some basic columns. They keep adding templates, but I'm just going to go with a simple text. because even in a simple text, we can customize it with, as you can see, images and several ways to display an image, as well as social media follows and video. So this is just a to customize. Now, if I don't want this top header, I just click the delete block, and I can start typing the email here. Now, they fill this in as an example. When I click on that little pencil here, I'm just okay. And then I could just, as you can see, just type the email there. If I hit click on save and close, that pretty much saves what I typed in here. It doesn't close the whole dialogue. Say I want to put a box text in there or even a divider. I just drag it over. And see where it says drop block? You can do it there. And then this way I can start typing in here. As you can see, it shows up in a different, it's the reverse. It's the background is dark and the foreground is light. That's the box text. I'll just hit click on save again. And as you get the point, is you just add these different sections. And I know I've done this in other tech therapy, but I'd like to try to make a teaching where we stick with the basics, then we go on to some of the intermediate things, except at the end of this webinar, I do want to hear your questions. So I'm going to just continue on from here, staying on track. Next, and then we're all set to send. As you can see, there's very few clicks to go through, and it shows you here. You can go back if I wanted to go back and change my recipients or how I name my campaign. I can just go back and click on one of these at the bottom, or I just use the back button. But right now, I'm ready to send the email. That's it. Just ready to send. I can schedule it, and that can tell it when to send it. But I'm just going to do that right now. In here, I can also preview it before I send it, or send a test email. So this is what it would look like. I mean, it's not very pretty right now, but it shows you at least what it would look like, and even what it looks like on a mobile device. So I'm going to click that, and just I'm going to click send. I love Mailchimp. It just gives you a nice little graphic here, and click on send now. And it gives you a high five, and it tells you the campaign is going to go out. So you can actually see how it's doing, who opens it. I'm going to go through, show you reports in a few minutes. Or we can share it by going to just right-clicking that and copy the link address. Now I can share that in social media. Just going to paste it in my browser to show you what it looks like. So that's basically, it's the email you see comes up in your browser, and when people get that, they can actually subscribe to your list right from here. If they don't have it already. So if you post it on social media, they click on the email, they read it, and they can subscribe to your list. There's many other ways to do that, but this is just one example of how to share the email outside of Mailchimp, a very simple email. Now, supposing I want to send this email to multiple lists. The only way to really send it to multiple lists, or send it multiple times, because I'm building this email, but I want to reuse it. I want to reuse it because of, just want to set up the template. Maybe I want to put an image card in there, so I'm going to send out memes or some other videos, or just have words that I always have to send to people, like the title of it. So that's when I use Create Template, when I want to use this multiple times, I guess, for multiple campaigns. And I'll show you how that works. Let me just make sure everybody's How is everyone doing? Everyone looks like we have kind of silent in the chat, but hopefully that means you're still there and watching. Someone just want to say hello. Oh, yes, I can know you're still there. Thank you, Christine. Okay. Okay, so we're in the create template. As you saw, I'm going to go back there for just a moment. Anytime you want to get back to the main screen, just click on the chimp, the Mailchimp, and then we go back to the top. So we went to the campaigns. That's like a one-time email. Next is templates. And then we create, again, the same way, templates, create template. Okay, so the starting point, pretty much, you see, this looks exactly like the campaign, the step on creating, selecting your template. Okay, so for example, I want to use something ongoing, and I want to put in my logo. I think that would be a good idea if I showed you one with a logo here. Okay, it even gives you some nice things about like a follow-up email. So because it's a template and it's very generic, I want to put my logo in there. I want to put words in here that I don't have to type multiple times, and then I can just save it and reuse it. So just as a quick example, everything in Mailchimp, which is really nice, looks the same. When you highlight or you put your mouse over the logo, you have the edit block. You can duplicate the block if you want to put it in more than one spot. If I want to make a second, for example, image, I would just click on duplicate block. So, and it asks you, the size. I'll just click that right there. Okay. Oh, okay, it duplicated it. Where did it duplicate it? Let's see. Let's do that again. Okay, I think I saw it. Yes, okay, it did duplicate it. See, sometimes it just takes the screen a minute to refresh. Just to show you that these are all the same, no matter what section of the email you're in. Edit, duplicate, or delete. So I'm just going to delete this other image block that I duplicated. Content block is what they call it. Okay, and that is to put a photo in there, or an image in there, or a logo. They're basically the same thing. I can go in to this is a placeholder, as you can see. So I want to go in to replace it with one of my files. So this is where I would upload a new file or choose one that I already have. And last week I showed you what I was doing with these images for one of my clients. But now I'm just going to choose this. Let's see, is it one that, yes, I'm not sure if I have. Oh, I do have more here. Let's see. Okay, yes, so we have a few of these. And as you can see, I have some video in here too for content. But I'm just going to click on this one and insert it. If I didn't have it in here already, I would have uploaded it. And so I can put this in there and reuse even the spot. I can use it this time, but next time I go in, I can replace it with another image. Just setting up a template so that I don't have to keep creating a brand new custom email all the time. If I know I want to have a logo, for example, in my email at all times, it's a good idea to create a template. So I'm just going to save and close that one. And always to get out of the editor is save and close. And now I'm going to the next step is the last step, save and exit. As you notice, we're naming the template now. We're not sending the campaign yet. So I'm going to call this one template. Okay, so there we are. And I'm back to my templates list. Now, when it's time to use the template to send email campaigns, as you can see this little down here, create campaign, I can preview it and do other things, even replicate it or make a duplicate of it, but I'm just going to go to create campaign. And this is going to look really familiar because it's the same thing we did last time. We just choose the list and went to next. And repetition again, it creates mastery, and April 20th, 2, and second time. Get through this quickly. I can, again, just going to put a personalized field. Is a good idea to have the first name in there. And as you can see how quick it can be once you have a template, you just click next. And I'm just going to go back, and right now it looks like it's going back, but it's going, and it's just going to take that template that I created, and I can make changes if I wanted to, just quickly edit something in the text, maybe in the message, and then go on to finish the campaign. Okay, so now it says look like it's a problem. Let's see what that is. Mailchimp's good about that because usually it will have check marks next to everything except where there's a problem. So there's a placeholder in my message, and that's really if we forget using a template and there's a placeholder in there, it actually reminds you of it, which is really nice. And that placeholder is send a tailored follow-up email. So I want to just possibly even the logo. I might have to put something in the logo to get past that. But I'm just going to delete it now so we don't have to spend time searching. Okay. So just see, there's really not anything, you can't really make any mistakes because Mailchimp is going to stop you and say, okay, this is not going to send properly, or someone's going to see that you missed a section. So now it's got the green lights here, the green check marks, and these are just some cautions to let you know you can do these things, but they're not mandatory. So I'll just click on send again. This time I'm going to actually go to schedule just to show you that it's possible to send this at a later time. And that's even without automation. You can schedule it to send in batches or send at a specific time and at a specific date. And I'll schedule the campaign. I hope this answers the person who wrote in about just getting started with Mailchimp and wants this. And for those that, maybe just to see this repetition again, I hope this was helpful tonight to go through that, because the next thing I want to show you is because we're going in, not in order, but the list would be nice if list was on the left-hand side, because we went from lists, we went to campaigns, one-time emails, templates that we use for multiple emails, and now we'll go to reports. Now, automation won't show up unless you've subscribed to automation. If it does show up, it'll ask you to subscribe. That's how it works. That's right. So now it just shows, let's see, you have to go down, but the screen's a little bit large. Okay, so go down to the screen here, and you can see the different campaigns and how many people received them emails, subscribers, and how many were opened. And it's by percentage. And if you hover over it, it shows you the numbers. So now I want to check and see if there's any questions before I show you tonight's Tech Therapy Pro Tip. Segment or die. Okay, segmentation is a powerful tool, and I'll show you what it does. Basically, they're saying segmentation to improve click rate and increase sales. Well, I did do a little test on segmentation tonight, or today, for tonight's webinar, and I did prove that there were more opens and more clicks when I split my list by segmenting. And I'll show you what I mean by that by demonstrating that to you, because I recorded what I did earlier. So one of the ways to segment, there are a few. Mailchimp goes through that on this. You can segment by many different ways. I'm just going to say, highlight them as demographics, e-commerce, other things like that, interest groups, list activity. I did it through list activity based upon how people responded or opened open rates through the lists, and how people were that I haven't heard from in a while. And I really sincerely wanted to reach out to those that I haven't been able to connect to for a while. And so it was nice to be able to do this, and I'll show you in the demo. So this is, as you can see, my Mailchimp. I'm going to go into my template. So as you can see, I have 2 templates at the top, and I'm going to create my campaign from the first one. Now this was a list that I'll show you how I came up with this list of what I wanted to send. Now it's a segment of a list. It's not a list on its own. It's a segment of a list. And that's why they call it segmenting. So I went to my master list, which is, I had 103 recipients, and I click on new group or segment. Okay, by doing that, now I want to go down to the new segment section. And when instead of using date added, I want to go to my campaign activity, showing you here all the choices. There are many ways to segment, but this is just on campaign activity. So these are those that haven't opened emails in a while that I've been sending them. And I just want to let them know that I was, noticing that, and that I wanted to encourage them. And that's why I labeled it encouragement. So did not open. And as you can see, it could be the last 5, 10, 20 campaigns, even recent. Recent is the last campaign. I think I don't know how many recent is actually, to be honest with you. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, so I decided to go with did not open the last campaign I sent, which was not April 5th. No, I decided that wasn't a good idea. Last 5 campaigns. So if I hadn't heard from someone, they hadn't opened, again, an email. So look at that. I clicked on update recipient, and you notice the 37 people. Now, if I click on the number 37, I guess I'm just going here to see how many people since my April 5th. Those are 59 people. So I said, no, that's not going to match. That could just be an off week. So I'm going to choose to go through campaign activity, did not open, and that was for the last 5 campaigns. As you can see, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay, I'd like that as a choice. In last 10 campaigns is 24. I mean, so you can just keep testing this. But I did finally decide that the last 5 campaigns is the group that I wanted to segment, to reach out with this template, as the 37 recipients match that list. So I'm going to go to next now. And those that are, okay, so then it looks familiar. I type in the campaign name, and I just sped that up a little bit so you can see it. You can name the campaign the same as the template, but I wanted to put an email subject that was personalized to them, but also it's been a while since we connected, so hopefully they'll answer the email. That was my title, or reason to put each segment is for a different reason. The first segment is the group that I haven't heard from in a while, and I want to send them a personal note and let them know that I want to encourage them. So, and here we are, here's my template, and it basically says I've missed connecting with you. And it's not, I want to pause this for a second and just let you know, and it's my pause button is underneath my Crowdcast. Oh, here we go, I can pause this. Those that I hadn't connected with in a while, I looked at that list. So even though your name was typed there, as you can see, what I used is called a merge tag, and I'm going to send out an email tip to everyone this week to let you know how I did that. But I'm going to go back. See where it says Dear First Name or F Name? I looked at the list of everyone that I was sending this to encourage. And so I'm aware that, you personally, but in order to not type your name at every email of the 37 people, I could use this, they call merge tag. And it is personalized to you because I really wanted to make this a personal email, which I encourage you to do for your lists. So I'm going to continue to play this. Let's see here. Okay. So you can see it. So I'm basically going to the next section, and there's a segmentation. 37 recipients, going to get that out of that, my full list of 103. And I can actually look at the segmentation conditions to double check what they are. And I can also click on the 37 recipients and see the names that I'm sending it to. And so that those that did not open in the last 5 campaigns, I'm sending this email to now. Okay. And I know it's just a few minutes, but we'll be wrapping up in just a moment. I wanted to show you the second segment as the complete the power tip for this week. So I'm going to go back to my templates. And now I'm going to go to create the campaign for my second one. So this is the frequent attendees. Same list. I created 2 templates, as you can see. Same list, though, the Tech Therapy Master List. But now I'm going to go to segment, the new segment of group. And again, go down. It's good to see repetition. I want to choose the conditions for my segment. Again, campaign activity. But instead of opened here, I can use, okay, that's 61, 37, just kind of look at it again. You can always just, but this, the point in with this one is that I'm going to change it now to was not sent. So whoever was not sent the last email, which was the encouragement email, so that would be those that are frequent attendees. So I'll update that. That was 66 recipients. And so with that, if you do the math, 37 and 66, and that equals my total email list. Okay, so now whoever wasn't sent that previous email, I'm sending the next email to the frequent subscribers, which is my another sentiment that I want to put in there, but it's for those that I want to thank for being continuing to come to Tech Therapy, because those that are on that list, a segment of that list, have been attended or at least clicked on the email. And I think following the email is the key. I don't know that they've attended the webinar, but they're at least opening the emails. And I'm assuming that if they're opening them, they're maybe hopefully reading them. Just segmenting is good because then you're not sending people multiple emails. And we don't want to send people multiple emails. As you can see, I'm just going through this again by clicking next. That's my template's already set. And to send to the next segment based upon they were not sent that last campaign. And I can just go ahead and send the email again. And I just want to go back and say the power tip for this week for Tech Therapy is segment or die, according to Mailchimp's terminology. But use segmenting. Try using segmenting so that you don't send multiple. So until we meet again next week, thank you, Carolyn. And God bless everyone. Have a blessed week. And I'll see you next week.